Hello, my name is Frank Krebs. I'm the pastor at Saints Clare and Francis Ecumenical Catholic Community in St. Louis, Missouri, and the presiding bishop-elect of the Ecumenical Catholic Communion. I'd like to talk to you today about Valentine's Day. Love is our natural state. You might think, wow, that's a surprising thing to say. If I pay attention to the news, or if I just notice what's going on in my workplace, I don't think of love as the natural state. But what I mean by that is, if we go down deep inside of ourselves, we'll see that we're actually constructed in such a way that love is at the basis of what we're all about. How do I know that? Well, people of deep prayer in our tradition, in the Christian tradition, and other religious traditions as well, tell us that if we pay real close attention, not so much to how we're interacting with the world outside of us, but what's actually going on down deep inside, we notice that we are in fact one with the great mystery of God. We're one with all that is. This is something you can actually experience if you spend time with yourself. You'll see that this is true. It isn't something you have to just believe. It's a very common human experience also. If we can reflect on how we grew up, we can see from just the developmental stages of life how we emerge out of a connectedness, right? So we're in our mother's womb. We are simply experiencing a oneness with that maternal, nurturing love that is coming through to us in the womb. And when we're born, we're nurtured by a parent or by parents, and we experience the coziness of that love, the connectedness. But then soon enough, a child learns to differentiate itself from the persons who are surrounding it, from the rest of the family, and achieve a certain independence. And there begins a lifelong journey where we try to discover our own way to take on the world. And that's a good thing, but it also has a deficit. And the deficit is that we can move away from that sense of connectedness. And so the great journey of life is to balance how we are indeed our own persons, but we are at the same time connected to everything else that is, and indeed to the source of life itself, God. And so if we can learn to balance that, then we are able to continually return to our natural state, which is kind of like a fountain that keeps feeding life into us. We need to have strong egos. We need to be able to be independent in the world and to be the gift that we are to the world. That's true. But it's also true that apart from our connectedness to everything else that is, we can become very kind of stale and dried up and don't really have much to offer other people if we're simply all caught up in ourselves. So what love is doing is trying to burst forth from inside of us to move out to others, and that's our natural state. It's a place of joy, it's a place of peace, it's a place of feeling like we belong, because in fact, of course, we do. Jesus talks about this in John's Gospel when he says to the people that he's trying to teach, his disciples, he says, it's like this: I am in my Father, and my Father is in me. If I go down deep inside myself, I just see a kind of like we're inside each other. There's a place where if you look deep enough, it's hard to see where the boundary is, where I start and God ends, or where God starts and I end. It's a communion that I'm experiencing when I look at it close enough. So he's explaining this to his disciples. And he says that same kind of communion I want between me and you as my disciples. I want you to have that same kind of communion between each other. In other words, this is who we are, and I want you to be awake to it, and I want you to let that love flow between yourselves and each other. You're independent. You're Andrew. You're Peter. So you have your individuality. But don't forget that in your individuality, there's love flowing between you, because that is in fact the electricity that's going to allow you to be fully alive. So that's a gift. Jesus is saying that I want to give to you. And this is a gift that you can give to each other on this Valentine's Day. I encourage you to just do it in really simple ways, just like when you were a kid and you passed Valentine cards around to people that you knew in school. It's just a simple gesture to let the love flow. Perhaps you can sit at your computer, you can get on your phone, you can iMessage people, you can text them, you can post to their Facebook account, just send them an email, do something just really simple, a call, just a very simple message reflecting back to them how much you appreciate their goodness. It's a way of saying, I'm seeing you, I'm appreciating you, and that's always a wonderful thing for the other person to be able to receive, to know that they're noticed, to know that they're appreciated, to know that you care about their being in your life. That's how love flows. It's very, very simple. You can do this. And you might want to pick somebody in your family that you've had a hard time connecting with for one reason or another, and use Valentine's Day as an excuse to reach out to them. You can maybe surprise somebody who isn't expecting to hear from you like that, or some friend that you haven't talked to in a long time. Think of something that you could say that would delight them, so that if you're putting love and surprise and delight together, that's a trifecta that's just unbelievable to receive for Valentine's Day. So I encourage you to do that. Let the love flow. Allow yourself to experience yourself as connected, and allow those around you to experience themselves as connected to you. My name's Frank Krebs. I'm the pastor at Saints Clare and Francis ECC Community in St. Louis, Missouri. Thank you.